Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Rebel Moon has a lot of controversy surrounding it, okay? Aside from the fact that it's a Zack Snyder film and you have Zack Snyder cultists defending it and you have Zack Snyder haters attacking it, it's just a battlefield. Like this movie is a literal battlefield of ideologies between two completely different sides, and we are seeing it through the reviews, we are seeing it through the conversations that are happening on Twitter. We're seeing it everywhere. But now we have an article here from Fandom Pulse that says Netflix is already pulling a Snyder Cut stunt with Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, and the fans hate the movie. Now, apparently, if you guys were unaware, Rebel Moon came out in theaters, right? It's only been out for about a week or two, and apparently Netflix is now about to release Rebel Moon on Netflix because it was part of their agreement, and the one that's being released on Netflix is the definitive version. It is the Snyder Cut. They're releasing the Snyder Cut on Netflix, and that basically screws over anybody who paid a ticket to go see the inferior version in theaters. It makes absolutely no sense. So let's get into this article, guys, from Fandom Pulse. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button, man. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. So it says, as Netflix prepares to unveil Zack Snyder's sci-fi epic Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, controversy is already brewing, echoing the divisive history of Snyder's directorial endeavors. The streaming giant's decision to release a director's cut following the Justice League Snyder Cut trend is causing fans and critics to groan at the stunt. And that's exactly what this is. This is a stunt, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get it twisted. This is 100% a stunt. And I don't know if it's from Netflix's standpoint or Zack Snyder's standpoint, or it's probably both doing it, to be honest with you. But it's ridiculous that you're going to release the superior version of a movie only a week or two after it came out in theaters on a streaming platform. That just makes no damn sense. You might as well just say goodbye to any chance you have of making money in the theaters. That is literally the dumbest thing I have ever heard. It says, in a recent interview with the Associated Press, Snyder discussed the unconventional situation surrounding Rebel Moon. Yeah, I would call it unconventional, all right. The director aimed for an R-rated feature, conflicting with Netflix's preference for a PG-13 version. A compromise was struck, allowing Snyder to create a more extended R-rated cut to be released later. Snyder characterized the director's cut as an alternative reality version rather than a mere extension of the original film. This departure from the norm raises questions about the Netflix's strategy and its potential impact on the audience perception of the movie. The decision to initiate a PG-13 version before the R-rated cut appears to be backfiring, with early criticisms and a 22% Rotten Tomatoes score tying Rebel Moon as one of Snyder's worst reviewed films alongside Sucker Punch. The film's negative reception is exemplified by critics' dissatisfaction with its feel and execution. Snyder expressed excitement about the creative freedom Netflix provided, emphasizing that the R-rated cut is significantly different from the theatrical version. However, the move seems more calculated than authentic, invoking memories of the Snyder Cut fervor with a potentially disingenuous approach. I am sure that they are trying to make any possible way of duplicating the hype that followed the Snyder Cut. They're trying to make this into a thing where they can try to garner some sort of hype for the movie, and I really think it's going to backfire even worse than it already is. This is the most stupid thing that I've ever seen. You are literally screwing over people who decided to take their money, go to the movie theater, and pay for your movie, and then a week or two later, you're going to release the superior version to this film. That is ridiculous. That is an outright ridiculous thing to do. The fact that they're even allowed to do that is insane. But again, people are not going to want to spend money on Snyder films in the future if they feel like it's going to be just another version coming out a week or two after they just paid money. Like, why would you want to do it again? I would feel really dumb. It says a Netflix decision is perplexing, considering Snyder's history of advocating for director cuts and the potential ramifications of the film's critical and audience reception. Releasing a compromised PG-13 version first before the director's cut raises concerns about diluting the original vision and potentially alienating fans. Snyder, known for his work on 300 and Justice League, has a history of championing director's cuts as superior versions of his films. However, the unique circumstances surrounding Rebel Moon pose a challenge for the director in managing expectations for the two distinct cuts. And keep in mind, too, if it's going to be that big of a difference, right? If the director's cut is going to be so drastically different that it's almost unrecognizable, why would you? It just makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense. It seems as if they were trying to steal as much extra money as they possibly can by releasing it in theaters for people who didn't know any better, right? So anybody who doesn't follow entertainment news, they're not going to know that there's a different version coming out on Netflix just a week or two after. So if they're looking for a movie to go watch in the movie theaters and they see Rebel Moon and they're like, oh, that looks good, I'm going to go see that, they're not realizing that they're getting screwed. And that's the thing that's going on here. They're getting screwed. People who went to go see the PG-13 film are getting absolutely 100% screwed, because there is a good chance that most of those people have Netflix as a streaming platform at home. So there really was no reason for them to go see the inferior version of the film and pay extra money for a ticket if they could have just waited a week or two and watched the better version on streaming. It really is insane, man. The controversial move by Netflix is reminiscent of the Justice League Snyder Cut phenomenon, attempting to replicate its success. Still, the pre-release negativity surrounding Rebel Moon raises doubts about the effectiveness of the strategy. Critics argue that Netflix's decision to demand a PG-13 version might have contributed to the film's lackluster reception. Again, I do think they're trying to do this. They're trying to reintroduce or redo the Snyder Cut hype from the Justice League, and it's not going to happen. People are not going to be falling for this twice. And again, you're only going to get the Snyder cultists who are probably going to be going out there and watching this movie twice. But most normies, once they find out they got screwed out of their ticket price, they're going to be really pissed about that, which is going to lead to the bad reviews that you're seeing now in the film. It says the current trend of releasing a director's cut so close to a standard version raises questions about the authenticity of the process. If the PG-13 version is perceived as a compromise, it could impact the overall success of the project. The situation suggests that Netflix may be attempting to capitalize on the Snyder Cut fervor, but risk falling short due to potentially disingenuous and pre-planned approach. Snyder's assertion that the director's cut is an entirely different movie creates an additional hurdle. While this may excite fans seeking a unique cinematic experience, overselling the differences could lead to disappointment if the variations between the two cuts are not substantial. So again, the fact that he said this, the fact that he said that it's an entirely different movie at this point is crazy to me. That just goes to show that they're willing to do anything to take your money, okay? Which we already knew that was the case, but you released one movie and then you're releasing a completely different movie on Netflix. It blows my mind. And I don't know how, again, that they're able to get away with this or why this is even allowed in the first place. I think this is an obvious attempt at trying to garner as much money as possible before they release the actual real version on Netflix. But still, you're going to get people who are going to defend this stuff simply because it's Zack Snyder, and that's fine. Again, I'm not a super Zack Snyder fan. I'm definitely not like a cultist or anything like that, but you're also going to have people that are hating on it simply because it is Zack Snyder. He's one of those people that is just so divisive that you're going to immediately have two very varying opinions the moment you mention his name, and I'm okay with that. So Zack Snyder, unfortunately, played a really bad card here, especially for the overall fandom. I think it's a very bad look. Whether or not it turns out to be profitable is something totally different, but as of right now, it looks like the movie is getting hit tremendously bad by terrible reviews, because not only is the movie seemingly average at best, but if you put that to the side, now everybody's got a bad taste in their mouth because you essentially try to screw them over, double dipping, and take their money from the theaters and a Netflix subscription in order to watch the film. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find out what happens when a director's cut actually comes out on Netflix, and whether or not that's going to help the movie or destroy it even further, time is going to tell. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.